Hey guys, welcome to back to the Life's Worth Living podcast. I'm your host, John Gossett. Thanks for coming back for another week and another episode. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors today. Thanks to GTM Builders for allowing us this space to record. Today we're doing it via Zoom, so we've got people from all over. And we also want to give a shout out to A. Warner Homes Real Estate, who is a big real estate agency out here in Tooele County. If you're looking at buying or selling a home, check out A. Warner Homes Real Estate. Give them a call at 801-867-5078. Also, another sponsor of the podcast this week is Comfort Inn and Suites in Lake Point. So if you're coming out to the Tooele Valley and looking for a place to stay, check out Comfort Inn and Suites in Lake Point. They've got a beautiful hotel. Give them a call at 801-250-3600. So I'm really excited. I got two of my best friends on today, Casey Scott and Jon Absey. So thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning.
Hey, no, thank you for having us. And I really want to, applaud Jon. I mean, he dressed up for the podcast and everything.
Well, it's only via Zoom.
I'll go upstairs, I'll change. I was in comfy clothes. I'm in my work clothes. I was going to go outside and do yard work today. So.
It's winter. You're not supposed to be doing yard work.
Oh man, I'm always outside. So I hate sitting inside.
I hear you. Well, thanks guys for being part of the podcast. So what we wanted to do today was talk about a special event we have coming up this coming Thursday, a night of hope. We're doing a virtual gala for the Life's Worth Living Foundation, and both of you, along with Nathan Osmond, are going to be emceeing the event. So I really appreciate you guys.
Well, you know what? It's been a lifelong dream for me to work with another Osmond.
Exactly.
You can't shake a dead cat without hitting a talented Osmond in this state. It's just crazy how talented that family is, but more importantly, how generous they are. And,
yeah.
I don't know how you scored him, but I mean, this is a good get. He brings a lot of attention to what you're doing, and I think I'm really excited for what you're doing because I've just been watching it kind of grow and grow and grow. And for your first gala, I think this is going to be amazing, and I'm really stoked to be a part of it.
Well, I'm super stoked to have you guys a part of it too. But what was interesting was we do some pretty big events. We host the nation's longest suicide prevention walk. We walk from Tooele City to Wendover, Nevada. So we walk 100 miles every April for suicide prevention. And this year, that's right when COVID struck. They shut down the casinos, they shut down the hotels in Wendover, and we had to cancel the entire thing. In fact, La Bus actually closed its doors for a while because of COVID. So we were unable to do that. Then we had a challenge during the summer that they were not allowing shotgun starts at the golf courses. So we had to cancel our golf tournament. And then December 5th, Casey, you were part of it last year, our Christmas festival, our It's a Wonderful Life festival out here. It's Tooele County's biggest Christmas party. And we ended up having to cancel it because kids can't sit on Santa's lap. And it's been a challenge. We do pancakes with Buddy the elf, and they're just, restricting how you can do that type of stuff. And so we went ahead and pulled the plug on it. And it's tough because what I've noticed, and you probably noticed this too, Casey, you deal a lot with addiction, and you host Project Recovery podcast, which I'm a big fan of, but it's really tough because connection's what we need to be able to keep in contact with those people that we work with, right? And this year,
they say the opposite of addiction is connection. And right now, connection is what everybody's yearning for, but you're not allowed to do it. You're supposed to be safe, 6 feet apart, and stay in your own bubble. And I can imagine how it is for the addiction. I've got 2 years of sobriety underneath my belt, but I've got a pretty good close knit group of friends, and I get to see them kind of regularly. But if you're heavy in your addiction, and along with that comes isolation, it's a recipe for disaster, and that leads to the podcast that you're doing, suicide. And 2020 is a dumpster fire, and we've just got to figure out how we can get it back to some sort of normalcy and help people who need help, because that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. And, you know, the thing you talk about, the opposite being connection. With suicide, really the key to suicide is connection and hope. You've got to offer hope that there's going to be a better day. You've got to have that connection. And one of the hardest things we have is we host a very, I shouldn't say popular, but a very active suicide support group at our local hospital in Tooele. We have 30 plus people a month that come to that suicide support group. Now that's both survivors of suicide, and it's people that struggle with thoughts and suicide ideation. And once we were forced to not have that at the hospital anymore because of COVID, we switched it to Zoom, and the numbers dwindled. So you don't have that same connection via Zoom. And so that's something that I think those people in that group are craving, is that one-on-one. And so it's a tough deal. And so I think
our good friend Jon is the epitome of connection. Throughout his years as the Jazz Bear, there's something that he did with every fan that came in there. Every, Bear Shop with the Bear, all that stuff is, Jon, you had an amazing ability to connect with everybody. And, how important was that connection for you? I mean, I know you fed off that. I mean, I would sit there and watch you, and that connection, I mean, all you could see is your eyes, but you could see your eyes light up every time you made a kid smile, every time you made a man laugh. I mean, it was so important.
It's hard to explain, like the relationships, because with those connections, you build those relationships. And it's kind of funny you said that, because I mean, with the kids that I saw, that connection, I was trying to let them know that it's real. You know what I mean? Because like you said, Case, I couldn't talk. And I just, the only way I could do it, like you said, was through my eyes or through my mannerisms, that I do care. This isn't just me in a suit jumping around. It was like I wanted to create a bond and that relationship. And the other night, a lady named Jo, who during my career, I knew and would always interact with her. And she stopped by Alenko so I could sign a jersey. And that was like the first time that we saw each other, with me out of suit. And that, it was just really humbling and fun to be able to see her and to know that even though I've been out for 2 years, she still cared about our connection and our relationship. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, and I'm sure, Casey, just like you, when you were on TV and stuff, and with the stuff you do, is you feel like, okay, once it's off, people forget about that, and they forget about what you did and what you're doing. Does that make sense? So It's really kind of nice to know that what you did really meant something, and that relationship was real.
Absolutely. Now, Jon, tell everybody, how many years were you doing Jazz Bear?
25.
25 years, and you're only 27.
I know.
Started at age 2.
John, I love you. I'm sending you a Christmas card for sure.
I like it. Well, and you know what you did? You had that connection with everybody, and you could see it. And what's impressed me the most about you, Jon, is you've continued the last few years. You've been very active, and you're working with charity now, right?
Yep. Go ahead, Jon.
Oh, no, and you've been continuing to just make a difference continually. And so you see your face everywhere.
I'm just trying to keep up with you guys. I mean, for years, I mean, seriously, because that was the hard thing, is when I got let go of the fact that I really looked at, I was really sad, because I really looked at the Bear as that vehicle to be able to continue to do the charity work. And I thought without the character that I wasn't going to be able to do as much in the community, but it's actually opposite, believe it or not. I just feel like I'm enjoying it this way, because now I do get to talk to those people, and unfortunately for everybody else, I cannot shut up anymore, because I was a mime for 25 years, and now I feel like all I want to do is talk. So I love being able to actually meet the people and hang out at the event, because as Bear, I was always in and out, and I never got to really speak to anybody. You know what I mean? And the cool thing is, like, working with Casey, I remember all the years that we would do stuff for the Mascot Bowl, and I'd call him up and he'd come out, and it was just fun to work together. And with Casey, I never knew what was going to happen.
And likewise, I never knew what Jon was going to do. I just knew if you put us both in the same area, we were going to put some smiles on some people's faces. It was either going to go really good or really bad, which makes for good TV either way. And so when we started doing these hosting jobs and promoting charities, I really loved the charitable aspect that Jon brought from the Bear, because it didn't matter what I needed. If there was a charity involved, I'd go, Jon, and he'd go, charity? Yep. And he goes, I'll be there, because Jon really gave back. And that's what I wanted to be more like. I wanted to be more like Jon. And so now I've got the freedom that I do now. I can do whatever I want, whatever feels good. And when I met you, Jon, suicide awareness and prevention, it really needs some love and attention. And I love the fact that how you got into it. And if you're hearing this podcast for the first time, go back and listen to some of his past episodes. It's amazing. I mean, really what you're doing out of the kindness of your heart and for your community and for the others. Everybody's got kind of a story of how they got into what they're doing. And your story, although it was personal, it wasn't someone in your immediate family. It was your community. And that's what you cared about. And that's what really attracted me to you and your program. And when you guys called and said, hey, let's do this gala, I said, we're in. And let's raise some money and get some awareness. Because much like recovery, the stigma attached to addiction is the same that's attached to suicide. And we need to talk about it because it's hitting closer to home than we ever knew.
Well, and I think that's one thing that's been huge through COVID. We've seen addiction, we've seen domestic violence, we've seen physical and sexual abuse and suicide all go up. Now, we were talking prior to recording, Utah's been really lucky as far as suicide goes. Our numbers have not gone up extreme like we've seen around the world. Last month in Japan, they had more suicides than COVID deaths. And we had mentioned that in California, and I think it was about the month of June, that California announced they had more suicide attempts in 4 weeks than in the previous year. So, although we're sitting well now, that doesn't mean that trend will continue. And so it's very important to keep doing what we're doing in prevention to try to make a difference. And you talked a little bit, Casey, about our community. Our community, Tooele County, is just an amazing place, and they step up whenever they're asked. And we try not to ask until we really need something. But this year, having canceled all of our fundraisers, that's left Life's Worth Living Foundation raising zero, yet still trying to have those funds to help out with different programs and do different things and in our community itself. And so when I reached out prior to this gala and talked to some of the companies around town saying, hey, would you like to be part of this? Would you like to help match funds for the donations that come in through the gala? And I'm going to just read off a list of these because these are really a big deal. Clean Harbors, who is a huge employer in Tooele County, donated $5,000 to match donations for this gala. Mountain West Medical Center, our hospital, has dropped $2,000 to match funds or match donations. Citywide Home Loans out here in Tooele, Jeff England, $1,000. Craig Swap and Associates, one call, that's all, right? They donated $1,000, and so did Denny's in Tooele and Lake Point. So, I can't be happier with our community saying, hey, this matters to us, and I'm willing to step up. And you guys see that all the time when you're doing these types of events and stuff. But, it's really personal to me that these are people I bump into at the grocery store, at Walmart. These are people I see at the restaurants in Tooele, and they care enough to put their name with mine, which, that it's just really meaningful. So I can't say enough about those sponsors and stuff.
You know what? You said something that was interesting. You said, people are very eager to give and help out, and you don't want to ask too much. You only ask when you absolutely need it. But I think that would go back to what Jon does, what I do with the recovery and addiction, is that please don't wait until you absolutely need it. prevention is so much better than the opposite, you know. You know, if you need some help, the time is now to reach out before it gets bad. When I talk about my podcast, and we have people come in and they tell their stories about their addiction, we always wait for, where's your rock bottom? And my whole idea of the podcast was not to have people hit that rock bottom. Why does it have to be a rock bottom to turn yourself around? Why does it have to be a rock bottom to go, oh, okay, then it does have me? If we can stop people from hitting that rock bottom, if people right now, we don't even understand or comprehend what's going to happen with the mental health of our kids, loved ones, and family when this is all done. You were talking off air that Fauci says we might be dealing with this stuff till 2023. Now, he's probably the most educated guy when it comes to this, so he's got to have, you know, some basis in scientific studies. And so, I mean, if that's another 2 years of this. And imagine what our kids are going through right now. And those are the ones we really want to reach out to and stop them and help them if we can.
100%.
Do you think, you know, because listening to what you were saying, Case and John, is I feel like you said, Casey, is, you know, trying to, prevent it and do it now. I think a lot of people, though, in this situation with either drug addiction or with suicidal thoughts, or if they haven't thought about them yet, but are heading down that path, I think a lot of people feel it won't happen to me. You know, like you said, Casey, is, you know, I won't hit rock bottom. I'll get out before it happens. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times it's that denial, and that is the dangerous part is not opening your mind up and saying, you know what, this could be a reality for me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If I said that right?
No, I think you did, because, you know, there were so many times when I was in my addiction and I got the DUI and my life was falling apart that people would go, I can't believe that happened to him. You know, he had everything going, a great job on TV, a beautiful family, and he threw it all away. Now, I'm going to take ownership in my addiction, but I can tell you this, my brain was not working correctly. My addiction was winning, and all it wanted to do was get what it needed, and then we'll figure everything else out. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And I don't know about suicidal ideology or that part, but I know they go hand in hand. And so, you know, addiction does not discriminate. And no. I don't think suicide discriminates as well. I mean, it doesn't just happen to poor people. It doesn't just happen to drug addicts. You know, you hear it all the time and you go, so-and-so, you know, committed suicide. And you go, wow, I didn't see that coming. It looked like he had everything going, but you don't know. How many times do you walk down the street and you tell somebody, go, hey, how's it going? And you are 3 steps past them before they even give them a chance to answer. So what I say is walk a little slower, ask somebody how they're doing, and then listen. Because what if that is the thing that's going to change them? What if they go, nobody cares. Nobody listens to me. You know, look, I know we're all busy doing our own things and trying to get through this crazy year. But the reality is there's so many people suffering in silence that are hurting, that maybe just want to be heard, you know, or talk to somebody, or just sit down and have a cup of coffee or a Diet Mountain Dew or whatever your fix is. And so suicide and addiction doesn't discriminate. Never know what's going to, and we got to be prepared for that.
John,
you know, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, I mean, like, so with what you're seeing with suicide, I mean, are people upfront about it? Like, yeah, I'm having these thoughts, or is it a lot like, you know, the addiction side where they're denying it? It's not me. It would never happen, but yet they're still fighting with that.
You know, that's a really good question. And I think what happens, John, for the most part, you have people that suffer. It's like the addict. The addict isolates. People in suicide ideation isolate. So they withdraw from their family and friends and kind of stay in the background, and they stay hidden. And so much of it becomes a big secret that they don't want anybody to know they're struggling. I mean, think back to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that Robin Williams would have taken his life? I mean, it was devastating because, you know, he's a hero of, you know, almost everybody in this country. And so devastating things like that. But you know what? I hear families, unfortunately, in the position that I work in, many of the people that I deal with are families who have lost a loved one. And they always, like Casey said, come to you and say, I didn't see the signs. I didn't I didn't even see this coming. You always assume that suicides are happening, but you never assume that they're going to happen in your home and your family to somebody you love. But I mean, take both of you, for instance. Do you guys know anybody that's died by suicide?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, when I was in high school, I didn't know anybody that had died of suicide in my school. But you know what? I go into schools now, and if I ask that question, I'll bet 80% of the hands go up. It affects so many more people than we know. And, this time of year, one of the major groups that we see struggle are us. Middle-aged white guys are your biggest category, right? We struggle. You get into a season like this in the holiday season, and there's people that are without work. There are people that are working, our entire industry of restaurants and hotels and that industry has been devastated by this COVID. And so there's people that are making less money now than they have. And we're coming into an expensive time of year. And so that's why I thought this gala was so important to address it right now. Let people know we're still here. It's not all about raising money. It's to remind people that Life's Worth Living Foundation is still here and we're here to help. But we want to address it because this is a tough time of year for a lot of people. And if you struggle with anxiety and depression, and maybe you've gone through a divorce or there's a multitude of things that could happen, you go into this holiday season and it can be a hard time for a lot of people. And so we want to remind people that we're here, because the last thing we ever want is for somebody to go down the road of thinking that the world would be better off without them. And, talking to people that struggle with suicide ideation, one of the things that you always hear is nobody would notice if I was gone. My family would be better off if I were not here. So many times they just want to be recognized. And I think that's kind of, John, going back to the Jazz Bear, every fan in the stands is hoping to have that interaction, right? They want to have that interaction with you. Casey, same thing with you. Everything that you do, people are drawn to you. They want to connect with you, whether it were in the news or through your podcast and things that you're doing now. That connection is just such an important thing. So you don't really know what your difference can make. Just like you said, passing somebody on the street and saying hi, asking how they're doing. Empathy is a big deal when it comes to suicide prevention. You've got to understand what people are going through. And so many times they mask it and you don't know what's really going on inside.
We're going to share this on our pages, and John's going to share this on his page. So for those who don't know, what is the Life's Worth Living Foundation? What do you guys do? What kind of help can you provide?
Well, I'll tell you, we started in February of 2014 after we had a large number of suicides in our community. And as we put this program together, we decided that there were three aspects or three missions we wanted to have. One is to raise awareness, two is to educate, and three is to prevent suicide. So we do a lot of things for awareness. We bring in different events to our community to let people know that there is an issue with suicide. We need to address it. We need to not bury our head in the sand. We need to realize that this is something that people go through. Secondly is to educate. And so if you've got a business or a church or a school and you want to bring that suicide prevention education, we can bring in trainings such as QPR, which is an 1.5 hour long training, Talk Saves Lives, which is an 1.5 hour training. And then we even have some more in-depth ones like Safe Talk, which is a half-day training, so about 3.5, 4 hours. And we can also bring in Working Minds that addresses workplace, the workplace. And so we'll bring those trainings in and help educate people, because if you don't know what the signs are, you're going to have a hard time recognizing when somebody's in crisis. And so that's what we want to do is make everybody aware what to look for, what to be alert to, so that we can stop somebody before they get in that moment of crisis where you can't repair it and you can't go back and bring a life back. And thirdly is to prevent suicide. So we offer monthly suicide support groups. We're going to do them via Zoom until we can get back in the hospital. We also did a veteran support group. So while you're talking about that, Casey, I mean, we unveiled the nation's first bronze monument dedicated to veteran suicide because we lose 22 vets a day to suicide. And these are guys that are dying in the shadows. You know, how many times have you watched a war movie and they say, no man left behind, right? We don't leave people to die on a battlefield. We don't leave them behind in war, but yet we come home, those veterans come home and they struggle by themselves. Many of them, you know, you see in addiction, with mental health issues because of things that they've been asked to do. They've done some hard things. And we don't want anybody to die in the shadows. We want to be there to protect them and let them know that life is worth living. And so those are the things that we do. And COVID has put a monkey wrench in it, you know, this year. It's made it difficult to do the things the way that we prefer to do them, but we have to continue fighting the fight because we just, you know, we can't accept the fact that we're just going to allow suicides to happen.
And this is a phone number that you should put in your phone, put on the fridge, always have it just in case because you need it. It's 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255. And that's the Utah Suicide Prevention Hotline. And John, you know better than I, but people are just standing by waiting to take that call, waiting to get that text. There's also an app, Safe Utah app, and that's a great app, and somebody will respond to you right there because, you know, it's just seconds before that decision is made. And if you can reach out to somebody and have somebody answer, how important is that?
Oh, you've got to get to them in the moment of crisis because, like I said, there's no turning back once it's happened. I mean, there's no way you can ever undo. And people struggle with that for years. But like you said, Case, Safe UT app is amazing. It's meant for school kids, but it's actually been open to higher education. And so like the University of Utah and everything's included in that Safe UT app. But not only can you press a button to talk to a licensed clinical social worker, they also have an option for text. And it doesn't matter whether you talk or text, a licensed clinical social worker will respond within 15 seconds of that call. And, you know, that's what it takes sometimes. And in Utah, we've been really blessed with Uni. Uni has been just a blessing here. We don't have $8 an hour workers answering those calls. We have licensed clinical social workers on the other end that can, no matter what you're going through, no matter what your crisis is, you're not going to tell them something that they have not heard before. And they're there to offer support and to be that person on the other end of the line. Now, a lot of times we tell people, reach out to somebody you trust, reach out to a safe person that you can talk to and have that human connection with. But man, if you don't feel like you have that safe person, call that lifeline or use the Safe UT app to connect, and it will connect you to the same people, licensed clinical social workers. And like I said, not every state has that, but Utah's been very blessed in the fact that our legislature has funded that and made sure that we have the ability to connect those people that are struggling. So, I mean, it's a blessing. Like I said, we've got a pretty good lineup for this thing. Have you guys seen the lineup that we've got for Thursday night?
Yeah, I don't know how we're hosting it because all those other people are way more talented than John and I.
You guys just have to look pretty.
Yeah, we're both borrowing suits for this. I don't have a suit, and John said none of his suits fit anymore. So
they don't. Yeah, I'm dying. I need to go get them all expanded. My gut. I was trying to button it last time I wore it, and I was like, if this button flies off, it's gonna hit somebody in the eye, man. It'll hurt them.
Well, the good news is this: we're not going to have a bull for Casey to ride, and we're not going to have an 80-foot ladder for you to climb and hold up a sign. So it's going to be safe.
Casey and I would both do it because it'd be. Got to live the glory days.
For those who are watching right now, run down the list of guests and tell us what they're doing.
So Paul Cardall, have you guys heard of Paul Cardall?
Yep.
Concert pianist. He has sold, I don't know how many albums, but I mean, huge name. He's from Utah. He actually has a connection to suicide, and it's a really interesting story. I think everybody's going to get to know him a lot better as he tells his story. And then he's going to perform a song for us. And then we've got Ty Herndon. Now, both Paul and Ty live in Nashville, but Ty Herndon was a huge country star. I think he sold over 5 million albums. And Ty Herndon actually came out in 2014 that he was gay. And his career has continued to do super well. He like many other Nashville artists, they're kind of sitting at home because they can't go out and do concerts the way they have. Venues have been hurting. Ty was telling me, he says, you don't realize how many of my friends have been suicidal because they're losing their houses, losing their cars. Nashville's been devastated by this. I mean, the CARES Act has helped give out money to businesses that have been devastated. But man, if you're in the entertainment industry, it's a tough deal right now. So I appreciate both of them being willing to do it from Nashville and to be with us. And he's going to perform a song also. Then Nathan Osmond, who's emceeing with you. Nathan and I connected in February for an event, and he had just recorded this beautiful song with Linda Davis. Linda Davis had a huge hit with Reba McEntire. I mean, she's kind of a legend. I had a crush on her back in the 90s. But Linda Davis and him did a song called Don't Go There. And it's a song about suicide. And it hits every aspect from a young girl to veteran to our senior community. It touches on all three of those, but it's an incredible song, and he's going to perform that as well. And you guys know Charlie Jenkins as well. Charlie has done so much work with our veterans and stuff, and he's going to address that aspect of it, and he's going to perform, and he's going to be down there to perform live. He's coming down to do it.
Hey, Johnny, can I throw out something with Charlie Jenkins? I just want everybody to know, because, you know, with everything with all the celebrities that you have coming in and all the entertainment, but Charlie Jenkins is near and dear to my heart, because I don't think people understand how much this man has helped out in this community and outside the community. And just like, you know, John, in case, anytime I've ever asked every time I've ever asked Charlie, there you go. But every time I've ever asked Charlie to come and help with an event, just like you guys, he is, you know, yes. And just tell me when and where, and he's willing to come and do it. He's helped with my mascot bowl for, 100 years. And I've even asked him to come out and help with charities outside the state. And he's loaded up his bus, and we've all hopped on and we've driven out to these events. So anyway, Charlie's near and dear to my heart, because he's done so much charitably in this community.
He has. I can't tell you how many times I've been to something and he's been there. It's like he's just like you guys. You guys are everywhere. And so, I mean, it says a lot about these people, and everybody's that same way. And Tim Gates, do you guys know Tim Gates? Tim is the lead singer of Due West out of Nashville. And he's actually this year been performing nightly at Ebenezer's Barn and Grill at Ruby's Inn, and doing the Bryce Canyon Wranglers still. And such a good guy. He grew up in Richfield. He came and helped us at an event in Richfield last year that we did after they were devastated with a high number of suicides. We went down and tried to help out that community. And Tim was, again, right on the spot, said, hey, I'll be there. But Tim actually has a story that I think he'll share with us as well, with a family that was devastated by suicide. And so he's coming to sing a song as well. Really great guy. And then we have some speakers. So Seth Adam Smith, which is a huge name in Utah, tells a story about, his attempt. We've got Seth Adam Smith, Gabe Adams. Gabe Adams was raised up in Kaysville. He was born in Brazil with no arms or legs. And he was adopted and brought up to Utah. And he's got an amazing story. He's one of my best friends, an incredible person, incredible human being. And Gabe's going to be on to talk about his story. And then Michelle Anhang out of Toronto, Canada, lost her husband to suicide and was due to some mental health issues. And she's agreed to come on and talk about it. Ganel-Lyn, who's, again, a huge name in Utah. She's going to come in and talk. She lost her sister, I think, 6 years ago to suicide. And then Todd Sylvester, who you probably know, Casey, works at Wasatch Recovery and is involved in recovery and had his own point in time where he felt like, life was too hard and he didn't want to go on. And so, man, we've got a really good lineup. I think it'll fit in an hour. And so it doesn't take a lot of time, but I'll tell you what, I hope everybody that's listening to this will join us and be part of this. Watch from your home, watch this gala. You're going to be touched. You might need some tissues. John's not going to sing, so you won't need too many tissues, but I think it's going to be an incredible event.
If people want to donate, you've set it up a text line so that they could donate. How do they do that?
It'll be text live to donate. And I believe that will be up and running this week. And it may be up and running right now, but text live and there's a number. So I'll have to put it in the show notes and I'll make sure that we have that included when this podcast drops on Monday morning. But any last thoughts, John?
Yeah, sitting here thinking and listening to what you guys have said, the one thing that I think that has helped in all this is the work that Casey, you've done, and John, you're doing, because you guys are old enough. I'm still younger than you guys, I think, maybe, but back in the day, suicide and drug addiction was kind of a taboo topic. You never talked about it. And with what you guys are doing right now, you're bringing it to the forefront because it is important. And I think that people are, look at the lineup that you have, John, coming to talk, and they're all talking about suicide. And I think that in the past, a lot of people never wanted to talk about it because of, how it was perceived. But so with what you guys are doing, you're bringing it to the forefront and saying, look, it's okay, to talk about this and to open up. So so thank God for people like you doing the work that you're doing.
Well, and I think it's really great that people are being more open and talking about it, because isolation is a killer. I mean, literally, it's a killer. So you isolate and withdraw from those family and friends and keep it hidden. It's just so much harder. And I think you probably see that as well, Casey.
100%. And I appreciate the kind words from John, and I love everything that you do, John. You guys are amazing. And whenever you need it, if I can ever be of service, all you have to do is ask, and I will be there. And I can't wait to be a part of the event happening December 10th, 7 p.m. You'll be able to see it on Facebook Live, an amazing lineup talking about a very serious subject that, in one way or another, it's going to affect our lives. Chances are it already has. And this is going to give you some clarity, some information, and hopefully we can do some good.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Love you both for always being willing. And I've got the chance to work with both of you on different things. And so, I mean, it's been a blessing to have you guys in my life. And I will never forget that you've been willing to do this. And so thank you very much. And again, everybody, that's Thursday, this coming Thursday, December 10th, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're anticipating we'll have people from all over watching and listening. So 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you haven't already, go to Life's Worth Living's Facebook page, like it, so that you can actually see this when it comes on. There is an event set up on Life's Worth Living's page. You can go in and click that you're interested or going. That will give you a reminder the day of and remind you that you have an event coming up. So I hope that everybody that's listened to this podcast will actually make sure they tune in on Thursday. And one thing that I'm going to challenge people, because so many people that I meet tell me all the time, I wished I would have seen the signs. I wished I would have done this or this. And the woulda, coulda, shouldas are a hard thing. And you can't beat yourself up after you lose somebody to suicide with the woulda, coulda, shouldas. But I would challenge everybody, if suicide has impacted your life and you have had your family dynamic changed by suicide, maybe consider making a donation in honor of that person, because I'll tell you what, when somebody dies by suicide, I firmly believe that they would do anything in their power to make sure that they prevent anyone else from taking that route. So consider that. Consider making a donation in their name. And like I said, we have some huge businesses in Tooele County that have agreed to match funds. And so we've got a lot of money sitting there. Donate $50, it'll be $100 because we're going to double what those companies are going to double what you're donating. And it'll really make a difference as we put this money together. The one thing I do want to mention before we leave is that Life's Worth Living Foundation is 100% volunteer. That means there's nobody making a paycheck off of this. That means 100% of your donation goes directly to the cause so that we can make a difference and try to make sure that no one feels that life would be better off without them. So again, guys, thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out as we close up tonight to GTM Builders for allowing us this model home to record in, giving us a beautiful, quiet place where we can pull off this podcast on a weekly basis. And A. Warner Homes Real Estate. Man, if you're thinking about buying or selling or possibly building, those two companies are incredible. And I got to tell you, bragging points for Tooele County, we are the 7th fastest growing county in North America for the 2nd year in a row. So if you haven't been out here in a while, come out and check out Tooele County. When you do, check out Comfort Inn and Suites in Lake Point. It was built in conjunction with the racetrack, and so there's a beautiful Porsche in the lobby that is a race car, and it's a beautiful hotel, somewhere where I like to bring people when they're coming to town. I tease and say, not everybody comes to Tooele County for tourism, but man, if you live in Tooele County and you have family coming out to visit and you don't want them in your house, put them in a hotel, put them out at Comfort Inn and Suites. So again, guys, love you. Thanks so much. And thanks for joining this podcast. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks so much.